The movie opens on Halloween night, where a terrified man is being pursued by Jester, a sinister, Joker-like character dressed in orange and topped with a hat. Jester's magic is no joke. It can be mesmerizing one minute and deadly the next. He's quick to anger, especially if anyone dismisses or disrespects his craft. Haunted by memories of his young daughter, Emma, the man is reminded of the family he abandoned. He's now starting a new family and expecting another daughter, Jocelyn, making her Emma's stepsister. Yet, no matter where he goes, he continues to see visions of little Emma. This is all part of Jester's twisted plan to burden the man with guilt and keep him on edge. Overcome with remorse, the man reaches out to Emma, pleading for forgiveness, but she cuts him off, coldly saying she wants nothing to do with him. Sorry doesn't fix the hurt, she says before ending the call. Crushed, the man sinks into sadness, leaving him vulnerable. At that moment, Jester reappears, and the man admits defeat. I tried, but she won't speak to me. It's now clear that Jester has been pulling the strings all along, and with the man at his lowest, Jester sets the stage for a tragic finale. In a horrifying twist, the man's tie turns into a noose. As he adjusts it, he unknowingly tightens the rope around his neck, sealing his fate. With a quick pull, the noose claims his life, and Jester tosses his body into the water. The next day at the funeral, Emma, Jocelyn, and their friends gather. Emma stands quietly, distant toward Jocelyn and harboring cold feelings. On a phone call with her mother, Emma expresses her harsh sentiments. It's better this way. He got what he deserved. To her, it feels like justice, while Jocelyn grieves alone, weighed down by sorrow. As the crowd disperses, Emma lingers, lost in her thoughts, until she catches a glimpse of a Joker-like figure dancing beside her father's coffin. It's Jester, a figure infamous for his bizarre antics. In an instant, he vanishes but hasn't truly left. Concealed nearby, he silently watches Emma leave. Shortly after, the cemetery guards arrive, intent on removing the unwelcome Jester. He turns their mission into a game, disappearing and reappearing, driving the guards to frustration. One guard reaches for his phone to call the police, but before he can act, Jester swiftly trips the other guard. The man's head strikes a stone, killing him instantly. Laughing, Jester's dark magic has claimed another victim. The man's shoes were tied together, another one of Jester's cruel tricks. The remaining guard, horrified, begins to feel ill and starts coughing up blood. Something foreign is lodged in his throat, a whole apple, planted by Jester as part of his twisted scheme. After struggling to remove the apple, the guard is left alone. Bored, Jester moves on, ready to unleash his next deadly trick. That night, Emma met Jocelyn at a bar. They were enjoying a pleasant conversation until Jocelyn brought up Emma's father, which triggered Emma's anger. She lashed out, saying harsh words to Jocelyn before storming out. Saddened, Jocelyn also decided to leave, but a man stopped her on her way out. He told her that her father wasn't a good man. The man, who had worked with her dad for 15 years, revealed that her father had many dark secrets, one of which involved Jester, who had influenced him to do strange things. Later, when Emma was about to leave, Jester confronted him. He displayed a deck of cards, asking her to pick one, but she refused. To escape, Emma walked into a store across the street, where Jester soon followed and encountered two brothers. The older boy grabbed a handful of candies, but the younger one took just one and asked Jester for more. With a wave of his hand, Jester performed a magic trick, creating a candy for the younger boy. Watching this, the older brother felt guilty and tried to take back the candies he'd grabbed. Suddenly, a hand reached out from his bag and grabbed his. It was Jester's hand, mysteriously appearing from within the bag. This spooky surprise frightened the children, causing them to drop their bags and run away. Back at Jocelyn's place, she noticed a shadow outside and nervously opened the door to find her friends waiting. She quickly invited them in. Later, Emma decided to visit a nearby store, only to be followed by Jester, who began to irritate her. Initially thinking he was trying to be funny, she soon realized he was the same disturbing clown who danced at her father's funeral. Furious, she shoved Jester away, causing him to drop a bottle, which shattered on the floor. He swiftly grabbed a shard of glass, and, to her horror, she thought he was about to attack her. Instead, Jester slit his own throat, blood spilling out and splattering onto Emma. He collapsed lifelessly, but in a shocking twist, he sprang back up with a flourish. It was another one of his tricks meant to unsettle her. Terrified, Emma fled. She returned to the store, shaken and covered in blood. Alarmed, the store owner called the police. 2 officers soon arrived and began questioning Emma, who tried to explain Jester's prank. However, they didn't believe her, assuming she was making it up. As they bombarded her with questions, Jester entered the store. He pulled out a pair of handcuffs and snapped them onto his wrists, only for him to vanish instantly and reappear on the officers. Before Emma could understand what was happening, Jester placed a hat on one officer's head. With a dramatic twist, he removed the hat, revealing that the officer's head had seemingly vanished. The headless officer stumbled in confusion, and the horrified store owner bolted from the scene. Meanwhile, the other officer freed himself and aimed his gun at Jester. Jester danced with the headless officer, reveling in his prank. The officer fired but missed, hitting his partner instead, who was fatally wounded. Determined, he tried to shoot Jester again, but Jester caught the bullet in midair. Emma, in disbelief, ran away as fast as she could. After the chaos, Jester vanished into the night. Meanwhile, Jocelyn sensed her father's presence in her room. Gazing at his photo, it felt as though he had stepped right out of the frame. Terrified, she rushed downstairs, urging her friends to escape to the festival. The festival was in full swing, but Jocelyn couldn't shake off the eerie visions. Exhausted, she sat down, only to see her father's image once more. This time, she followed it. Meanwhile, Jester continued his cruel tricks, targeting Jocelyn's friends. He lifted a cup to reveal a set of teeth underneath, not just any teeth, but those of Jocelyn's friend, who now had a bleeding mouth. The friend lifted a second cup, which was empty, only for his eyes to fall out, leaving him blind. He screamed in agony, blindly running around and causing panic in the crowd. In a desperate instinct, he reached for his friend but stumbled, prompting 2 others to catch him. As they guided him aside, they noticed Jocelyn standing motionless, lost in her thoughts about her father and their cherished moments together. Suddenly, the scene was shattered by Jester's arrival. In a shocking turn, he injured one of Jocelyn's friends. The third friend went silent, her throat tight with fear. At that moment, Jocelyn emerged from her trance. She approached Jester, pleading for him to stop and willing to do anything he asked. Amid the chaos, Emma, still on the run, received a call. It was her mother's number, but the voice on the other end was Jester's. He communicated through twisted words, but to Emma's ears, they echoed in her mother's voice. He urged Emma to erase her memories and leave quietly, warning that the game would continue if she stayed. In his threats, Jester inadvertently mentioned Jocelyn, hinting that she too was in danger and far from safe. Emma's bond with Jocelyn was unbreakable, and she refused to leave without her. As she approached the bridge where her father had met his end, Emma was gripped by a vision of him, feeling compelled by his presence. Emma rushes forward, and in a poignant encounter, her father's memory helps her confront her past mistakes. Overcome with emotion and newfound understanding, she tearfully calls him, Dad, for the very first time. Today was the day Emma forgave him, yet, in an unexpected twist, her father wraps a bandage around her neck and pulls her back from the road, only to let her fall from the bridge. As she plummets, memories of Jocelyn's childhood flash before her eyes. Amidst the chaos, a voice taunts Emma, berating her. But with clarity, she realizes this isn't the Jocelyn she knows, it's a deception. Knowing it's all a trick, she ignores it. Emma sees young Jocelyn and her father walk toward a shed where Jester awaits. Jocelyn signals Emma to follow, and inside, Emma sees how happy Jocelyn is with their dad, a happiness she never experienced herself. Her father approaches, a knife protruding from his chest, causing Emma deep distress. Tears stream down her face. Her father, noticing her sorrow, asks, "Why the tears?" "I was content. It's all a ruse, meant to break her spirit with guilt." Emma, once resilient, now feels anger bubbling within her. Jocelyn's arrival only fuels her rage as she mocks Emma with memories of the past. In a dramatic gesture, Jocelyn pulls the knife from their father's chest and hands it to Emma, urging her to end her own torment. Gathering her strength, Emma refuses to crumble. She confronts Jocelyn, declaring her a fraud, and vows not to fall for her deceit. In a bold act of defiance, Emma plunges the knife into Jocelyn's stomach. The act shatters the illusion, revealing a grim reality. Jocelyn is truly wounded. Jester's applause echoes as Emma stands, shocked, watching Jocelyn collapse, her life hanging by a thread. Desperate, Emma rushes to her sister's side. Jocelyn reassures her, "Don't worry, I know it wasn't intentional. You were under Jester's spell." But Emma, consumed by rage, lashes out at Jester with the knife. Despite her fury, not a mark is left on him. She shouts, "Do what you will with me, but stay away from my sister." Hearing Emma's outcry, Jester departs in silence. Time passes, and we find Emma at her father's grave, seeking solace and unburdening her heart. She speaks to him, unaware that Jester is lurking nearby, eavesdropping. It's clear Jester hasn't left her life. He's still there, trying to exert his influence. But Emma, wise to Jester's games, isn't deceived. Thwarted, Jester retreats. Emma then heads to the bar, where Jocelyn waits, their reunion bittersweet. Their bond is now stronger than ever, though they mourn the loss of Trix, Jocelyn's friend, whose life was cruelly taken. So that's the end of our movie. If you've come this far, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe my channel.